I was saying if there's no national job guarantee along a basic payment alongside of it, what would this mean for people who are disabled or affected by physical, mental health conditions, and who obviously currently, face barriers in the current labour market, and not to mention prejudice, but can and may want part-time employment because a number of people who are disabled can actually contribute to society. They can work part-time at least. Where would these people be left behind in this proposal? And this is, I suppose, directed to Ben.
Thanks, Anthony. That's a great question too. So I tend to think that so there are lots of people with disabilities at the moment who have jobs, and a whole range of jobs, but we do have a labour market that is not well designed for those folk, and there are heaps of barriers in it. I suppose my concern, so that's a real problem, and we need to do something about the real problem. So the question is, what's the best strategy to deal with it? My concern about a job guarantee is that almost inevitably those will be minimum wage jobs, and that will infer that the only solution for people with disabilities is to get minimum wage jobs, because it's held out as a solution to that problem, and the only component of that solution is minimum wage jobs. I think there are other ways that we can say there's a real problem there and do something about it, which are about reducing barriers and discrimination in the labour market, and about creating and valuing the kinds of labour and work that people with disability can perform and want to perform, and saying that that kind of work is valuable and it needs to be funded. And I know that sounds a little bit fuzzier, but I tend to think it's a more realistic way of getting a range of good quality jobs, which I agree is a real challenge. And one of the reasons I also think that the test of a basic income shouldn't just be that less people want to have jobs, because I think people want jobs for all sorts of reasons. We want people to leave bad jobs, but we want them to take up good ones.
Yeah, the quality of what sort of jobs there are in the labour market, I think, is really, really important. So, but that's all I wanted to ask.
Not just for disabled people, but perhaps especially. I think the quantity of jobs is often talked about more than the quality of jobs.